Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sime. Today's host, Ola Ahlvarsson.
Good morning. Lovely with applause this early. And what a fantastic 2 days we have ahead of us. Why are we here? Well, Sime has since '96 wanted to spread knowledge about digital opportunities, and that we will do during these days. We are in Epicenter. How many of you have been here before? Clap your hands. That's the way I get applause. But for the others that have not been here, this is a digital innovation house where we explore, we make mistakes, we have fun, we test technologies, we have innovation labs for large companies, we have the fastest growing scale-ups. iSettle is up here, Star Stable is up there, and we have a member club of people that just like you are interested in how we will work, live and play in the future. I'm especially glad to welcome our guests, both online and in real life, from Epicenter Oslo, newly opened, from Epicenter in Amsterdam, one of the world's most sustainable buildings that you can actually kind of fold and put somewhere else if you want to. And you have to go by Tesla or bicycle there if you work with construction, otherwise you lower the energy footprint. And also from Epicenter Helsinki, just opening up, and Epicenter New York. You night owls or morning larks that are with us online right now, very, very welcome to Stockholm. So today and tomorrow will be very much about artificial intelligence. AI is touching almost every part of every summit and every future vision. And AI can be a lot of things. It can be from sort of cute futuristic things. These guys, they go and deliver your food. So you just cook food on a restaurant, put it there, and these drive out and deliver it to you. No more waiting for Ubers or going to get takeaways, or more important things like curing cancer with precision and the advances in medicine that we just seen the start of. Also, very, very interesting things like creating touch in prosthetic limbs, or things that are almost beyond science fiction. Inanimate objects being able to feel and touch. Or my personal favorite, a way to charge your mobile phone in 30 seconds. If you're dog lovers, this one's for you. You can clone your dog. So when it dies, you just get a new one. But do not place the cadaver inside a freezer. Common mistake in dog cloning. Don't do this, gentlemen and ladies. Wrap the entire body with wet bathing towels, but you knew that already. And then keep it in the fridge instead of the freezer. Super strangely enough, you can also make human embryos that are completely synthetic. I don't really know what you'd want to do with them. I think it's kind of fine making them as well, but you can actually do these things right now. And you can start predicting the future just based on people's DNA. Right now, you can predict certain types of cancer and certain types of other things, but in the future, you'll also be able to predict whether somebody becomes a criminal or somebody becomes aggressive or other things. That poses a whole range of new ethical questions. If you want to discuss these ethical questions in any language, you can do that with Babelfish or with other technologies, allowing you to actually talk to anybody in the world in their own language. And this is kind of funny because I have a good friend who has one of the largest translation firms. And he conceivably thinks that he will be out of business 10 years from now if they don't embrace these technologies and become the best in these new realms of translation. You can also not only cure, you can also enhance things. This is kind of crazy. It's a sixth finger. Haven't you always missed it? Well, you can also use AI for less fun and funky things, like controlling people. This is actually up right now. It is a lie detector at the European borders. And with over 80% accuracy, it can see if you're lying or not. And they test it on you by saying things, please lie this way, and they see if it works, and then they ask you a bunch of questions. So conceivably, 10 years from now, or even tomorrow, it could be, are you a terrorist? Yes, I am. Sorry, you can't come in here. Already at the border. But everything AI is not peachy. And I'm not thinking about Terminator and all these things that journalists likes to write about. I'm thinking about more subtle things. Like, for instance, Microsoft's experiment that was really interesting, where they had an AI, and this is old news, that when it just read everything that everybody wrote online and in newspapers, it became pro-Hitler and anti-feminist, right? This is the gaydar. You can look at 91% accuracy whether somebody's gay or not. It's a fun thing if you're gay, but it could be quite challenging if you want to join the Russian army or something like that. I don't know why you would, but if you want to join the Russian army. Or things like this, when the guy couldn't get into the US because the AI said that he was closing his eyes, so the passport was invalid. Or a beauty pageant robot that looked at who won all the other beauty pageants, and they saw so many white girls, so they thought that that was beauty, and hence darker skins couldn't win. We don't know who programmed these things. We don't know what rules they impose in society. And this algorithmic polarization that's happening, it's happening without us thinking about it. I mean, we see it in social media, but it's also kind of fucking up democracy. And I just learned something from Unionen that is going to speak later. There could be algorithms that actually decides who get to a job interview. So whole groups of people could never get to a job interview. Or what happens if Uber changes the user agreement? Click here, your salary is 16% lower. There's completely sets of circumstances that we need to build, rules or systems or things that work. And maybe because of these algorithms, certain things wind up in places where we never thought we would find them, not in our wildest dreams. It was kind of funny because we have a spoof that we do. When speakers speak too long, something strange always happened to them. We've had ninjas rappelling down from the roof, and one year we had Trump screaming, and then somebody running out in a Trump mask like this, and that was a joke. 2 years later, he was the president, right? And one of the reasons is that social networks and other sources online wants a lot of click and engagement. You follow that? How do you get that? You create conflict. And if you create conflict, you polarize. So by polarizing, you get more and more clicks and engagement and hence revenues. So algorithms could conceivably, in their pursuit of revenue, create polarizing, like for instance this is oil and gas. The people that work with it don't like it. These are people that are against it, and this is what they read. It's completely separate worlds, and these are influencers below. And of course, it should look like this. We should have some sort of common narrative. We should have some sort of common ethics. But it's completely unregulated, super interesting. And both as a studier of the time we're in, but also if you want to do business. And of course, this touches industries. Industry after industry is changing, morphing, or even exploding. We're going to have a retail summit where we look at where's retail going. Is it the winner kills them all, as many people say, with Amazon taking out thousands of stores in the US and elsewhere? Or is it actually so that it challenges the industry to think faster, more agile, and smarter? And there's so many cool things happening in the retail space right now. Kind of like the media industry knew they needed to transform. Most things happen in the media industry early on in technology. And here, there are morphing combinations of what happens in the store, what happens online. Or there's even this, which I like. At Walmart, they have face detection, seeing if you're not looking happy as a customer, somebody will approach you and try to make you happier and smile. Or Nike, challenged by 1-hour deliveries and fast production, creates shoes that are done in 46 minutes in design. IoT, we're also going to have an IoT summit, Internet of Things. And it's gone from sort of quirky little sensors everywhere to very transformational industrial applications. We're going to see how a mine gets changed. This is a store, by the way, that comes to your home, self-driving store. It's the Glassbilen 2.0. Or here, it's Taobao. You can look at a car you like, you click it, you then get some info, you do a selfie, and then you just go and pick up your car in one of the completely automated stores where you can have it for 3 days before you need to click and say, I like it again, and do the same thing. These things actually exist, right? What happens in robotics then? Robotics. Well, they're going to steal some of our jobs, that's for sure. What you're going to see right now, it's a news reporter, an anchor. Raise the volume, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm an English artificial intelligence anchor. This is my very first day in Xinhua's agency.
What do you think the chances are that somebody 10 years from now will actually be a human reading news from a teleprompter, right? This is Harmony. Harmony to the left, Matt to the right. He created Harmony. It's the first love and friendship companion that you can have in your own home. He's here and he's going to share what artificial intelligence and love and companionship and sex looks like in the future. Harmony can come in different shapes and forms. You can adjust intelligence, sexuality and humor. You can change faces. You can do a bunch of different things. And it is very, very interesting to see what happens if he cures loneliness or if this is a very strange, creepy thing. But all the girls doing like this right now. There's also Henry, the robo-hunk. He looks like this.
If you play your cards right, you've got some pleasure and fun coming your way.
She's designed more than anything else for companionship, conversation. We want users to interact with the AI and have this exchange of information, like little details about you, little details about her, so that over time you get to know each other, just like you do with a real person. So she's going to remember things about you, your likes, your dislikes, your experiences, your hopes, your fears, and all of those kind of little things that make us who we are.
We often speak about exponential technologies, and many of you have heard me say that if you sort of walk 30 steps linear, it's 30 meters. If you do it exponentially, it's 1 billion meters. And when technology gets twice as smart at half the cost every year, it's very likely that Harmony will be 1 billion times smarter 30 years from now. Then what happens? And in light of that, we can look at how sort of industry after industry changes. Voice is another thing we'll speak a lot about. And there are two types of voice. The voice you have yourself, that you can start doing V-commerce and ordering things, and the home AIs will be a more and more important speaking partner. But it's also how voice and AI will take over a lot of things that actually manage customer relationships better, and you'll see tests on how you can actually drive sales and do a bunch of things using voice AI. Another thing I've been looking quite a lot at before this time is we call them fakers or makers. So when you have an event like this, there's about 100 speakers contacting you, and they're saying like, I'm a global leader in da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then they want to speak. And then we try to check whether they are or not. And there's so many people that have absolutely no experience of what they're talking about, or they're people coaching entrepreneurs that never built something entrepreneurial, or they're people writing a book about something, but nobody buys the book, and nobody has built something based on their advice. So we call them fakers. And we brought some of the master fakers of the world. One of the, he's a maker now, he's Oba Butler. And Oba Butler, he made his tool shed the best restaurant in London on social media and on TripAdvisor by just hacking the system. The next thing he did, he went to a flea market and took a brand, Giorgio Parmani or something like that, went to the French Fashion Week and made it on the covers of everything. And then the last thing he did, and I'm super excited about that, he trained 30 people to be Oba Butler because everybody wants him to come and speak. And they're speaking all over the world right now. So we don't know if Oba's coming or somebody who's a clone. So he's the master faker. But he's also a maker. And many of these are called super entrepreneurs. And I'm sick and tired of people not being super entrepreneurs, being called super entrepreneurs. So I'll break it down for you. If you're a startup and compare yourself to Spotify, bear in mind that they have 87 million paying users. They did 14 billion crowns last quarter, right? So you can be super good and cool in a startup. But there's a difference between that and what you get if you Google super entrepreneur, then you get Leif Ivan. Leif Ivan is the king of fucking everything. And then he gets a TV program and lots of other things. I think we need to move away in saying that people are things that they're not. They shouldn't be advising if they don't have experience. They shouldn't be called super entrepreneurs if they are Leif Ivan. And I actually spent 2 hours trying to Google what this guy has done, and there was no company right now that was making more than 1 million crowns and he now moved out of his swanky house from the TV show and he lives in a bus. And that's sad for him, but he's not a super entrepreneur. It's not only about money, of course, and I think that there's a lot of super entrepreneurs that touch people's souls and do things in a way that merits the word super entrepreneur. We're going to meet some of them. Peppy Pals, for instance, they've made 500,000 very young kids more empathetic. Or there are social entrepreneurs that are here. A lot of them are here today that are making really, really nice things that touches the lives and hearts of many. Scale-ups or startups. The statistics for startups trying to become a scale-up is that 4% of all startups make 500,000 euros or more after 3 years. 0.4% make 10 million euros after 5 years. So it's easier to become a rap star in Sweden than to become a scale-up. And of the ones in the valley that are super successful and get seed investment from great investors, up there, the seeded company, almost 1,200, there are 5 of them, of the great companies that already got funded, that become unicorns. It's just interesting to see the scale of things. And we need to start understanding how scale-ups work and how we can help them, because they are the ones paying the taxes, recruiting all the people, and putting Sweden on the map. Is Sweden ahead of the game? Well, of course we are. We're the coolest place in the world, especially Stockholm, especially the epicenter of Stockholm. But looking a little bit further, a lot of things are happening elsewhere as well. There's crazy funding rounds, $14 billion going into companies in China. And the Chinese market is just exploding with business models and with interesting things that will come hit us 10 years from now when they're done with China and start understanding their little countries up here. So, Alibaba, $31 billion in one day's sale. $31 billion in one day's sale. These things are happening elsewhere than here. And if we want to be relevant in the future, we really, really need to hook up with each other, try to find new ways of building technology, try to cooperate, and keep the momentum that has taken us this far. And in order to do so, you need new leadership skills. We have a whole summit up in Sime land here. So Sime has different sections. I'll go through them later. But up on floor 7 with Klostret and Ekharet, there's a leadership lab going on. So if you look at leadership, there are completely new takes on the super skills leaders need. And maybe they don't need so many skills. There's also technologies where you crowdfund the management. You have a platform. You don't need bosses or leaders. Or you can create a company that's not even a company. It's a colony. You define the rules, and through blockchain, the companies run seamlessly. Well, I'm not so sure about that. But there are very interesting things happening. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the most powerful management skill that you'll ever hear about, my favorite subject, I'm going to speak about that more tomorrow. It is management by sleep. We sleep too little. Everybody raise a hand that slept 7 hours or less tonight. Okay, I can make you 20% more efficient. This is Christopher, he's the CEO of Sime. This is yesterday night, live footage. And if you are like this, you really need to understand how sleep cycles affect you. We're also going to have a sleep week here at Epicenter where you can come for afternoon naps and where we have sleep apps and we have lectures about sleep. It turns out that a typical person can be 20% more creative and 20% less anxious if they manage to sleep better. We're also going to look for a new narrative because, as I started out saying, there's a lot of polarizing narratives out there. There's a lot of we and them, and especially so if you read media. So we're healthier, wealthier, safer, and a bunch of good things than we've been before, but still more and more people get depressed, and we kind of have the perception that things are going worse. So I hope that technology can also be a solution for finding a new narrative and a new sort of collective we around the opportunities technology brings. And I also think that technology and entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship is absolutely crucial to find these new solutions. And we're going to present some. I'm just going to give you a little preview here of what we call Campus Epicenter. We've started 2 teaching initiatives. One, which is mind-boggling, called School of Applied Technologies. Here, super smart people, 1,000 of them applied, 30 get in after the IQ test and everything. And in 3 months, they become kick-ass programmers trained by the best paid teachers in Sweden, and then they can work with the members here or other places. So you can be a baker in Kabul, you land in Sweden in August, and then you work at one of the coolest tech companies in December because you're smart and you work hard. Co-founded by these gentlemen, Koshi, who's a successful super entrepreneur, sold his company for 800 million, and championed this together with Rickard. We're going to meet them later on today. We're also going to meet the guys from Epicenter Academy, which we launched here at Sime together with Telia 2 years ago, and now it is a university where newly arrived kids from the hood, anybody who's smart and have a dream can come in based on their attitude, not on their grades, and when they build a company the first day. This is the first class, and some companies are already coming out. And then we're also going to launch Epicenter Living, which is top secret for another hour or so. So what do you need both as leaders and to enjoy the Sime ride? Well, I think the right attitude, and I think we all understand these things. We don't have an intelligence problem with digital transformation or innovation. There's a courage problem. So we need to be brave and we need to try new things. Mats Hederos, the CEO of AMF Fastigheter, we were standing on the roof of one of his buildings and said, Nordea's moving out here, people want to be in the... What do we do with this? I want to do something really, really transformative. I want to do something for Stockholm and for the people in this district. Let's do Epicenter. Sounds like a great idea. And then we started this whole thing. These kinds of brave leaders. And they also understand the alternative cost of not trying. The dot-com boom, everybody was positive. Dot-com crashed. There were a whole group of people saying, I knew that all along. That's why I didn't do anything. Making not doing things a strategy. And I think that's a very bad strategy. When you don't do something, you make an active choice. And it's going to be chaotic, but then remember this. I think about this quite a lot here at Epicenter. It's very chaotic now, but I have sand inside. Doesn't always work, but it feels a little bit good. And I also think that we should go, especially the larger companies here, try to go from sort of control and process a little bit more to momentum and flow. And when that happens, we see in the innovation labs here, we have innovation labs with Merck and SAB and a Stronghold and a bunch of different companies. When people get a different environment and when they're challenged in a different way, the colleague next to you that you thought was a little bit boring and not so engaged, all of a sudden can work the most magical things. But in order to do so, we have to break up a lot of the silos. And we try to do that here because there's so many different industries exchanging. And after each summit, you can go and have a conversation with speakers and with the people from different industries, different functions, to try to break down the silos and think together in a more open environment. So I'm going to finish off by giving you some hints. This is Sime Land, and as you see, we are at inspiration stage. You're all very inspired now. Then we have live zones where if you want to follow the program, but it's too many people, or you just want to hang out, you can watch it live. We have matchmaking, and then we have revelation space where we have expert talks, 45 minutes where you can sit down and talk with Alison Johnson, the ex-global marketing director of Apple, or any of the other speakers that we have. And then we have a demo zone where we show all kinds of fun and crazy stuff. And there's more matchmaking, and then you can go up the stairs to Leadership. That's on the 7th floor. Or you can join the Retail Summit on the 8th floor. But you have all this online, but just see how you can navigate. We have some guests of honor today. His Majesty the King, Her Majesty the Queen, and also the President of Italy will be joining us later today. So we're very happy about that. And it's also happy that we can show Epicenter and Sime on a day like this. What summits do you have? Well, summits are social impact for social entrepreneurs and for non-profits. We have Inspiration Stage, where you are right now. We have an AI Summit that's going to be absolutely fantastic, where we meet Harmony and Henry, among others. There's a Retail Summit. It's on the 8th floor, on top here, with AMF, Apple, and lots of other interesting companies, IKEA, sharing the future of retail and their thoughts. We are going to have expert talks, Leadership, Customer Excellence Summit, where we dig down into how some of the best brands and technologies help you build a great customer experience. I don't know if you know that, but Apple orchestrated the opening of a box so that it was exactly the pressure and the time for the ritual that made you love the product the most. And the woman that created that, Alison Johnson, is going to share the secrets of unboxing Apple. We are also going to meet Oba Butler or any of his 30 clones, we don't know right now, coming later here, and the world's most connected man, Chris Dancy. And then we're going to have a scale-up summit for the scale-ups that want to grow faster, meet each other, and that is on SCB stage, which is down here next to the venue. And we're going to finish off with leading digital transformation, where we brought together leaders that have successfully driven digital transformation, experts, and a bunch of other interesting people exploring the frontier of digital transformation. Then, of course, we'll have the ultimate after Sime cocktail with speakers and lots of other things happening, and a magic show, which is kind of like if Elon Musk married Terminator or something like that. It is Charlie Caper. He's been elected the best magician in Sweden. He's won Talang. He's done another thing, and he's based on technology and AI created a magic show, and it starts at 5 o'clock today. It's going to be here, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. What else do we have? Well, we have summits tomorrow. I'm just going to flip them through very rapidly. Digital Marketing Summit. We're going to have IoT Summit. We're going to have Intrapreneur Summit. And we're going to have the epic closing party when we dance the night away here and at Yak. And some of the expert talks, you'll also find them online. It's from your chief strategy robot to the state of blockchain, to growing at hyperspeed. We get a unique insight in how Salesforce has been growing 30% per year in spite of being a very, very large global company using their own technology. Building an iconic brand, and of course the party. Now some of you are feeling really, really afraid. They only have tickets for today. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You mail Magnus and see if there's any tickets left. Magnus at Sime. He doesn't know this. He's just going to get mails from people. And that's Magnus. And then we have our fantastic speakers. You're soon going to meet Max Tegmark, genius AI, scientist, TED speaker, some that, for me, somebody that connects most with the future I want to see from an ethical perspective and understands technology deeply. Alison Johnson, ex-global marketing director of Apple, the founder of Harmony and Henry, Tiffany Boa with her new book, which is super cool, called Growth IQ. Oba Butler, or one of the Oba Butlers, Danica Kragic, a robotic professor who knows more about robots than anybody else, the world's most connected man, filmmaker and Vice super journalist Vikram Gandhi, who tells you how to build a cult. We have Linda Hammarstrand on the culture of passion, and we have Ellen Sund, who among other things makes, she's an IoT expert making, among other things, made blind people being able to play in orchestras, and all kinds of interesting thoughts. And we're going to connect the minds of Boliden, and we're going to learn how art and technology merges. And this is just some of the, in total, 112 speakers that will be in different rooms and in different places. And it's of course going to be you. Participate, take part in the matchmaking, ask questions in the after talks, and meet as many people as you can. Then about keeping the time, speakers need to keep the time, and I have two magic weapons. I have Mahesh Kumar. Mahesh. He combines a bunch of different interesting things. First of all, he was my assistant 14 years ago, completely underpaid and overworked, and his first real big assignment looked like this, because he was going to come up with how do you interrupt the speakers at Sime, and it looked like this back then. Can I have some volume as well on that?
Rolex.
It worked really well. Now, what are you doing now?
Yeah, so the whole thing started, by the way, just wanted to say, super happy to have all of you here. When we started Epicenter, we were dreaming of days like this, where we would have so many people sharing, caring about what we're building and how you're building things. So thank you so much for being here. Today, I'm one of the co-founders of Epicenter and CEO of Result, and I have to tell you a quick backstory. So when I came here to Sweden 13, 14 years ago, the first question I asked Ola is, Ola, I mean, there's 9 million people here, and we have 1 billion people in India, and we have about 400 million people that are getting into jobs. How the hell is Sweden going to compete with countries like that? On top of that, people leave at 3 on Fridays. What happens here? And Ola's come back, he thought a lot, and he came back saying, But you know what, Mahesh? In India, trains never run on time. But in Sweden, we are always punctual. And then he put me on stage, and that's the Rolex, that's the backstory. Then 10 years later, I said, Ola, I think I can do your job better. And today I'm the CEO of Result that he started, 99, and he is kind enough to give it to me, and he's still my chief mentor and my partner in crime. So today I'm the CEO of Result that co-owns Epicenter, co-founder of Epicenter, co-founder of a couple of other companies called Fitness Collection and a few more. So that's what I do. I'm also going to be a moderator together with Ola and try to squeeze the juice out of what people are saying here, what you want to hear, and what I think is very, very exciting to talk about. So that's what I'm going to do with you.
Yeah, and when I'm not around, he calls himself Me 2.0. I'm not sure if it should probably be 4.0. But you also have another timekeeping. Now you evolved, you're a business leader, you're a man, you're a father, you're a bunch of different things. So let us look at Mahesh's suggestion for how it looks right now for timekeeping.
Breitling? Hello?
Good.
Breitling? Hello?
So any of you speakers out there that hears a Breitling, it means your time is really, really up. So coming back to the why, we are here in order to give you as much digital knowledge, as much inspiration, tools, and friends as possible. But it's a cooperation, so please make the most out of Sime, and welcome to Sime 2018. It's nice with applause.